At $60 per pound, Alaska king crab is one of the world's most expensive seafoods. Every year, 2.3 million pounds are caught in the Bering Sea during a fishing season that lasts just 3 months. From the moment these massive crustaceans are pulled from freezing waters 900 miles off the Alaska coast to when they arrive at your dinner table, an entire industry operates under some of the harshest conditions on Earth. 32 fishing vessels, battling 40-foot waves and sub-zero temperatures, race against time and nature to harvest the year's quota before the season closes. Once caught, the crabs travel through processing facilities in Dutch Harbor, Alaska's largest fishing port, before being shipped to markets worldwide. This is the complete journey of Alaska's king crab season, from catching in the deadliest waters to processing in industrial facilities to selling in markets around the globe. The story begins in Bristol Bay, located 900 miles off the Alaska coast in the Bering Sea. These frigid waters, staying between 35 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, create perfect conditions for red king crab to thrive at depths of 300 to 600 feet. But fishing for these crabs isn't a year-round operation. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game opens the Bristol Bay king crab fishery on October 15th and closes it on January 15th, a window of just 3 months. This timing isn't arbitrary. The season is designed to avoid the crabs' molting period when their shells are soft and to end before they begin their spawning cycle. For the 2024-2025 season, regulators set the total allowable catch at 2.3 million pounds, a 7% increase from the previous year, but still far below historical averages. In the 1980s, the Bering Sea produced up to 200 million pounds of king crab annually. Today's quotas reflect decades of careful management to rebuild populations after they crashed in the early 1980s. Only 32 vessels registered for the 2024 Bristol Bay fishery. Each boat carries a crew of 4 to 8 fishermen willing to work 20-hour shifts in conditions that make this statistically the deadliest job in America, with a fatality rate 80 times higher than the average worker. At the dock price of $10 per pound, the entire harvest is worth $23 million. Each fishing vessel carries between 200 and 250 steel crab pots. These aren't simple cages. Each pot weighs 800 pounds when empty and can hold up to 250 crabs. The pots are baited with herring or cod and dropped to the ocean floor using hydraulic cranes. The deployment process moves quickly. Crews lower pots into water 300 to 600 feet deep, marking each location with GPS coordinates and surface buoys. The pots then soak for 24 to 48 hours, giving crabs time to enter through funnel-shaped openings designed to make escape difficult. After the soak period, the real work begins. Using hydraulic systems, crews haul each pot back to the surface, a process taking 5 to 7 minutes per pot. In calm conditions, this is straightforward. But calm conditions are rare in the Bering Sea during winter. Crews work in temperatures of minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit while waves crash over the deck. Ice forms on every surface, adding dangerous weight to the vessel that must be constantly cleared. When a pot breaks the surface, crews have only seconds to secure it before the next wave hits. In 2024, the average catch rate was 35 legal-sized crabs per pot, a good sign that populations are slowly recovering. But not every crab caught can be kept. Federal regulations are strict. Only male crabs measuring 6.5 inches or more across the shell are legal. Females are completely protected regardless of size. Undersized males must be returned to the water immediately. Crews use metal measuring devices to check every single crab. Of every 100 crabs caught, typically only 20 to 30 meet the legal requirements. This selection process happens continuously as crews work through their string of pots. On a productive day, a boat might haul 100 pots, processing thousands of individual crabs. The work continues in shifts around the clock. Weather permitting, most boats complete their quota in 2 to 3 weeks of intensive fishing before returning to port. After spending up to 3 weeks at sea, fishing vessels arrive at Dutch Harbor, located on Amaknak Island in Alaska's Aleutian chain. Dutch Harbor has been America's top fishing port by volume for over 20 consecutive years, and during crab season, the harbor becomes a hub of constant activity. The crabs arrive alive. Throughout the fishing trip, they're kept in large tanks filled with circulating seawater maintained at 35 to 38 degrees Fahrenheit. Upon arrival at the processing facility, time becomes critical. The crabs must be processed while still alive to ensure maximum quality and food safety. Workers immediately begin the butchering process. Using specialized knives at cutting stations, they separate each live crab into what the industry calls clusters, sections consisting of a shoulder joint with 3 to 4 legs and 1 claw still attached. This isn't random cutting. Each cluster is carefully prepared to preserve the meat quality and create the product consumers recognize in stores. During butchering, workers also remove the viscera, the internal organs, and the gills. These parts aren't edible and must be extracted before cooking. Each cluster receives a thorough rinse with clean water. The body sections, known as carapaces, contain less meat than the legs and are sent to rendering facilities where they're processed into fish meal and fish oil. Nothing goes to waste in this industry. Once butchered and cleaned, the clusters move to the grading station. Workers sort them by size into 3 main categories. Colossal grades weigh more than 2 pounds per cluster. These are the massive specimens that become centerpieces at high-end restaurants. Jumbo grades range from 1 to 2 pounds per cluster. Large grades fall between half a pound and 1 pound. Workers also inspect each cluster for shell hardness and meat fill, with premium grades commanding top prices in global markets. The clean, graded clusters are packed into perforated stainless steel pans. These aren't solid pans. The perforations are essential. They allow steam and boiling seawater to circulate completely around each cluster during cooking, ensuring even heat distribution and preventing any section from being undercooked. The loaded pans enter industrial cooking systems. Some facilities use massive steam chambers, while others use boiling seawater tanks. Either way, the temperature reaches 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and the clusters cook for 18 to 20 minutes. This fully cooks the meat, turning the shells from their original burgundy color to the bright red consumers recognize, while the meat inside becomes snow white with red highlights. Timing becomes critical again after cooking. The cooked clusters must be cooled rapidly. Temperature needs to drop from 212 degrees down to 35 degrees in less than 90 minutes. This rapid cooling is what preserves the tender, sweet texture king crab is famous for. Some facilities use ice slurry baths where clusters are submerged in a mixture of ice and water. Others employ specialized cooling chambers with circulating chilled seawater. If cooling takes too long, the meat becomes tough and loses moisture. Once cooled to the proper temperature, the clusters move to blast freezing tunnels. These specialized freezers maintain temperatures of -40 degrees Fahrenheit, with high-velocity air circulation creating what feels like an Arctic blizzard inside. The clusters freeze solid in just 12 minutes using a process called IQF, individual quick freezing. This speed is crucial. Rapid freezing prevents large ice crystals from forming inside the meat. Large crystals would puncture cell walls and destroy texture. Quick freezing creates microscopic ice crystals that preserve the meat's structure perfectly. Immediately after blast freezing, each cluster passes through a glazing station. Workers briefly dip the frozen clusters in ice-cold water. The water instantly freezes on contact with the -40-degree surface, creating a thin, protective ice shell. This glaze prevents freezer burn during months of storage and shipping. Without it, the meat would gradually dehydrate and lose quality. The glazed clusters are vacuum sealed in heavy plastic bags and packed into 10-pound cardboard boxes. Each box receives a label showing the vessel name that caught the crab, the processing date, and the catch location. This complete traceability allows any box to be tracked back to the specific boat and exact day it was harvested, a requirement for seafood sold in premium markets. Finally, the packed boxes move to cold storage warehouses maintained at -18 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, properly processed king crab maintains peak quality for up to 18 months, allowing it to reach markets worldwide regardless of season. From Dutch Harbor, frozen king crab begins its journey to markets worldwide. The United States consumes 30 to 40% of Alaska's king crab catch. The remainder is exported primarily to China, Japan, and Europe, where king crab is considered a luxury ingredient. Transportation depends on the market. Premium fresh frozen crab destined for high-end restaurants often ships by air freight to minimize time from ocean to table. The majority travels in refrigerated shipping containers aboard cargo vessels. These containers maintain consistent sub-zero temperatures during voyages that can last several weeks. But here's where the price really adds up. Understanding why king crab costs $60 per pound or more at retail requires following the money through each step. It starts at the dock. In 2024, fishermen received $10 per pound for their catch. This dock price compensates them for vessel costs, fuel, equipment, crew wages, and the tremendous risk involved in Bering Sea fishing. Processing adds another $10 to $15 per pound. This covers the cost of cooking, blast freezing, labor, packaging materials, and operating the facility itself. Processing plants in Dutch Harbor employ hundreds of seasonal workers during peak crab season. Distribution adds $15 to $20 more per pound. This includes refrigerated transportation, cold storage warehousing, import duties for international markets, and the logistics of maintaining an unbroken cold chain from Alaska to the final destination. At this point, wholesale distributors are paying $35 to $45 per pound. They sell to retailers and restaurants with their own markup of 40 to 60%, bringing the price to $60 to $80 per pound for frozen crab legs at your local grocery store or seafood market. In restaurants, the markup increases even more dramatically. A restaurant paying $50 per pound wholesale will typically charge customers $120 to $200 per pound for prepared plated king crab. This reflects additional labor for preparation, the cost of melted butter and sides, and the dining experience itself. The high price reflects genuine scarcity and difficulty. The season lasts only 3 months. Fishing quotas strictly limit how much can be caught, ensuring sustainable populations. The work is genuinely dangerous. Fishermen risk their lives in conditions that have claimed many vessels over the decades. The remote location means fuel costs alone for a single fishing trip can exceed $50,000. And unlike many seafoods, king crab fishing and processing remains labor-intensive work that cannot be easily automated. From the freezing waters of Bristol Bay to dinner tables around the world, Alaska's 2.3 million pound king crab season represents an entire industry operating under extreme conditions for just 3 months each year. 32 vessels and their crews spend those months battling 40-foot waves and temperatures of minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. They deploy over 6,000 steel pots into waters 600 feet deep, hauling them back one by one, selecting only the largest males while protecting females and undersized crabs to ensure future seasons. In Dutch Harbor, processing facilities work around the clock to cook, blast freeze, and package the catch. The result travels thousands of miles through an unbroken cold chain maintained at minus 40 degrees, reaching markets on multiple continents. Each step adds cost but also adds value, transforming a dangerous catch from a remote Arctic sea into a luxury seafood product that maintains its quality for months. The next time you crack open those massive crab legs, remember the journey. 900 miles offshore, 3 months of dangerous work, strict sustainability management, and a complex logistics chain spanning thousands of miles. This is why Alaska king crab costs $60 per pound, and why every single bite represents the dedication of an industry working in one of the harshest environments on Earth.